Hello, everyone. Today is Monday and we have the DevSync. We'll share the updates on what we've been doing through the last week. Leo, do you want to be first?
Sure. Well, last week we were working with Nasar actually and Osgun. So we integrated the node without CLI CLI, and it was we were able to make it work. So the integration is working. Probably I am still from my latest branch having problems with the boot node configuration. I am still not able to load it from the chain spec file. I need to put it manually in the code. I don't know if we can check that Oskun later, but apart of that, it's everything working well. And yesterday came back to the relayer to automate the deployment, and I found some GitHub actions from Wrangler, Cloudflare. So there is an example in there to make it work, to configure some secrets and make the publish automatically from a pull request to the main branch. And I also came back to the to the examples project to add this NFT with Ethereum integration. And I found some problems with Web3, so I will probably we will be using another library to connect with Web3. I don't know why it's not working correctly, and I realized that it's about something about React Script 5.0 that is using Webpack 5, and some polyfiles are not automatically done right now, and there is a lot of issues with Web3, and most of the people is using React Web3 or another libraries to connect. So I was working in that, and I expect to be working this week in these two projects, Relayer and the automating the deployment, and also updating these NFT examples. Obviously, confirming the last node integration in the application. So those are my updates.
Okay, and that was with about node integration. It was with the latest modified chain spec, right? Where there is a correct
Yeah.
bootstrap node. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
It's the only configuration that is not loading. All the others configuration load perfectly.
Right.
But the
As
boot
far as I remember, it should read both that network configuration and the chain spec. Maybe I'm wrong, but in that case, we can just read it from the chain spec. You should have access to all the fields from the chain spec, so you don't need to copy paste it manually. It should still go from the chain spec either way.
Yeah, that is what I was trying, and that's what is not working.
Okay. Strange, but well, okay.
It could be that maybe Leo is testing that on his own chain.
Yeah, because Osgun tried it, and he told me that for he was working. So we will compare what is happening there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions to what was happening on the outside? Okay. Thanks, Leo. Serge, do you want to be next?
Sure. So I'm still working on feed validation. Last week I managed to decode finality proofs, and recently I managed to initialize breach. So it required root origin for that, and Ivan helped me with that. And now I can submit blocks for verification, but I get invalid justification error at the moment, so I'm checking the source code so I can understand how to tackle that. And probably I will have to move breach initialization to create feed call, because currently we have it in the put call, which is not perfect, I guess. So this is my update, and yeah, I will work on keep working on that this week.
Okay, makes sense to me. Questions to Serge? Okay, Ozgun?
Yeah, sure. So I should elaborate more on the backend or tower side of Subspace Desktop. So we were actually using the CLI objects to include the chain spec. It's no longer the case because we needed another modification on that, and it was a hacky solution on top of another hacky solution. So Nazar helped with that, and we removed the CLI objects for good, and now we are creating the config file from scratch. And we were testing with Leo all the time for finding the bugs. So after Nazar helped us, we tweaked the parameters for this chain spec and also the parameters, and it's working. So right now we believe that after we have a new release on Subspace monorepo, it should be working immediately for the Subspace desktop, so that we will have a release on the Subspace desktop side as well, version 1.0. And so we are waiting on that. And in the meantime, I will try to look on to other issues that we have on Subspace desktop. But this week and also the weekend are spent on this node integration stuff. We also created the habit with Leo to rebase our commits and have a meaningful history in Git. So that's going well for us, also in Subspace desktop repo. And yeah, that's basically my week. And in the next week, as I mentioned, as soon as we have a new release on Subspace monorepo, we will try to test it and have a new release on Subspace desktop. And in the meantime, I will look into other issues.
Okay, makes sense to me. Just let's not ship 1.0 for a while. Let's use 0 point something releases for now. It's not like super stable in final and so on.
True.
Okay. Questions to Ozgun about any of this?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. Great progress on all this. I'm really excited to see us being close to having a first version of this desktop app. So what is the expected, and maybe this is a question for you, Nazar, when do we expect to have a release of monorepo?
I'll probably share update on my side later.
Okay. Does that have to block testing of this, of the desktop app with our team or our community?
A little bit, because the code base has changed significantly, and the things that we are using to actually integrate it were only happened later after we branched off the previous snapshot, and it is not compatible. So we kind of have to have a newer farmnet to be able to join it.
Okay, so we have to recreate the farmnet itself. It's not just the desktop farmer. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we can load the older chain spec, but it doesn't have the same API, so it will just break.
I see. So the only way to test it is to run a chain locally right now.
Yes, and Leo did that. Like we tested on Leo's chain, started from the up-to-date node.
Okay. I guess I'll wait till your update to get my questions on that then.
Okay, Justin, do you want to be next?
Sure. So last week I was working on getting the snapshot code signing working. As far as I can tell, I think we have Windows working, but Mac OS is fighting us a little bit. I was working with Nazar over the last week and over the weekend a little bit. It looks like Mac OS won't allow us to notarize the binaries directly. It's just not like a supported file type, or from what they prefer. So as per Nazar's suggestion, I tried last night to zip up the binary and get that notarized, because apparently that would work. Problem being is I can't locally code sign on my MacBook because it's too old. So I can't have the latest version of Xcode, which has the notarization tools. Just discovered that late last night. So I'm going to link up with Ozgun hopefully today or tomorrow and see if we can get code signing working on his MacBook. Beyond that, if we still can't get it working, Nizar mentioned that we probably just want to push disable macOS code signing so we can get another release out. That way we don't hold up Subspace Desktop or anything else while we continue to try and figure that issue out. Beyond that, got the minimal, a good preview of the Subspace docs published. So I've been getting some feedback from the team. If you guys haven't had a chance to take a look, it's just in the Subspace docs repo on GitHub pages. Would appreciate any feedback you may have. So far, so good, though. Just been kind of iterating any feedback that I get on that just to continue to improve upon that. And beyond that, most of my week last week was just kind of helping out with the fundraising round Influx, getting some new members onto the FarmNet. We're up to almost about 50 nodes, actually, at this point. It was about 25 by Friday, so a bunch of people joined on over the weekend as well. Which has been good to see that they haven't really been having any major issues, just a couple small questions here and there. Moving into this week, I'm going to be helping to try and get the new snapshot out and help test out Subspace Desktop. And hopefully we can start getting the community on this next level of the snapshot release and continue to help out with the influx of users we're seeing and hopefully get Subspace docs some more work made. There's also some other things that I was going to try and work on, such as the one-pager and some other community objectives as well.
Okay, I just have one comment on this. Regarding code signing, let's try to figure it out today or at most tomorrow, so we have an answer for ourselves and we can move forward. Otherwise, it takes way too much time.
Definitely, yeah, that'll be my biggest priority.
Yeah, and it's really
And I have time for
with
it.
Ozgun too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely be able to do that on your machine, Ozgun.
Yeah, we can sync up with Justin after this meeting. Sure, no problem.
Okay, thanks, guys. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Ozgun. Or Justin, sorry. Ivan, do you want to be next?
Sure, yeah. Last week I worked on the adding the custom block reward address. Yeah, the PR was helpfully merged. So right now, last week we also synced up with Nazar about the partial replica support from the farmer side. So right now I'm working on that. Actually, yeah, I've been familiarizing myself with the code base. So yeah, right now I think I built some mental model of how it works finally, and I think if it's okay, I would do a first iteration of this PR somehow in order to get some correct version of the partial replica, not an optimized one, and after that just iterate on some better version of it. Would be fine.
Let's have a discussion maybe later today or tomorrow, and just share what you think we need to do, so we can split the work in several steps.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hope to finish it also, the partial replica this week. Yeah. That's it from my side.
Awesome. That's a very crucial feature for the testnet, according to basically everyone on the team. So glad to finally work on that. Any other questions to one? Okay, Lucian.
Okay, sure. So the work that has been done during the last week is basically the foundation work for the fraud-proof verification on the primary node. I created a separate substrate fork and added some necessary modifications there. I have verified the execution proof on the secondary nodes by extending the series test a little bit. And now I have figured out a list of concrete tasks that need to be tackled for verifying the fraud proof on the primary node. most functions seem to be already supported in Substrate, but it turns out some of them doesn't perfectly fit into our use case. So anyway, I have added the list to the Notion page, and we'll discuss about them on the protocol think call. Additionally, the first Substrate PR that fixes the undeterminism of the storage proof has been merged into the Substrate master branch, but the second PR still has no feedback. Yeah, that's all my updates.
I think it has been a few days since you submitted both PRs, so maybe just ping, I don't know, Bastian or someone, just gently to ask what they think.
Yeah, how about another reason I would guess is probably that PR is not well shipped. I have left one to do even, but yeah.
Well, at least some feedback would be useful, like so we know like if this is something they want to accept or not.
Yeah, I'll ping them again. Yeah.
Okay, so this week, what do you think could be achieved in terms of the fraud proofs?
You know, some problems. The biggest priority I would like to discuss about is this secondary runtime integration on the primary nodes. So the other things is all kind of about the implementation. Like the idea is kind of clear. So it's all about like how much time we need to like take the Substrate like to implement our like feature properly.
Okay, so you want to discuss this tomorrow, right? On the protocol thing.
Yeah. I have like make a list of all the problems like in the Notion. Yeah. Most of them I have discussed with you like privately.
Sure. Okay. Okay, makes sense to me. Other questions to James? Okay, on my side, I've been hacking a little bit on the desktop farmer, as folks already mentioned. There was an integration done using the CLI. It's kind of the same way that in some other places they're already doing in Substrate. However, that was, as I was going to mention, the hacker solution. In the latest iteration, you can actually instantiate just a service, don't need Node as a dependency at all, and any like CLI dependencies at all. You can just instantiate the software that we need directly as a library. So that I think will be helpful in the future. We can do more customizations to it and have lower level access. For instance, when we want to remove the RPC, RPC as a connection between farmer and the node, we can do direct connection in the software. That will be helpful for security. It will be faster, it will be more efficient, and so on. So that is one direction. Also was working a little bit on the code signing side. There were like small typos and not obvious things that we have resolved with Justin. It almost works, but we still need to push it to the edge to get it working. But I think we have a pretty good idea why it doesn't work. That took a little bit of time because like every run is several hours to test whether like one typo helps. So that was a while. I also fixed 2 issues in Subspace repository. One was where the farmer sometimes disconnects and stops producing blocks. We had that issue for a little bit. And the integration of JSON RPC for RPC in Substrate is still not merged. The PR was open in like last May. It appears to be almost ready, but no one is merging it yet. So the fix is basically trying to ping basically Node every few seconds, and if it doesn't respond to too long, it will just exit, forcing a restart, and that will fix it. And also it fixes the problem where while the node is syncing, the farmer just waits for sync to be finished. With this change, farmer can actually plot pieces as they are being synced. This is one of the complaints that people have because we have over like 4x users on our Discord right now, and many of them were trying to run the node. So that was one of the feedbacks from them. There were some typos in the documentation that we had, and I noticed that many people still have problems with running it. For instance, they only copy like the first line of the command. They do not know like this backslash is actually a continuation. So you probably need to clarify that. Also, some community members already created custom versions of documentation in other languages that are easier to follow for people. But they're using like systemd and writing units and using like system log collection utilities. So that is a fairly different setup that compared to what we are suggesting officially. And they were having some challenges with that. And I'm like, it's not official, so go to the person who created the documentation. So you have like a small community already that are trying non-standard things, which is kind of expected, but also means that we need to probably focus on some of those aspects that they were looking for in terms of running it. And yeah, it was just generally helping people and trying to collect feedback about running Node and Farmer and the confusion that they have. And we'll probably include that feedback into the next iteration of the documentation. I think those are most updates. I'm about to start the node synchronization finally, probably today or tomorrow. And we'll see what comes next. Yeah, and I was also working a little bit on the problem that we had with the node that suddenly fails to verify blocks after restart. I do have a plausible explanation of why that might happen, but I'm still waiting for feedback from Substrate folks, whether that is actually something that is supposedly happening, because I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see what they reply. But that is the only way I can see how that will break the way it breaks. Everything else seems to work properly, so we'll see. Any questions to me on any of this?
Yeah, back to what Özgen was saying about the FarmNet. We need another release of Subspace.
Yeah, I think the only major blocker is code signing. If we can get macOS working, we'll get it. If not, we'll just comment it out and we'll have code signing for Windows only, but we'll still ship the new release out. I don't see any other blockers anywhere really. So we're almost good to go. Just waiting for the folks to finish tinkering with it.
Okay, so just make sure I understand. So Özgen, you're going to get code signing working on macOS as soon as possible, and then with Justin's help. And then at that point, we'll be able to release a new version of Subspace monorepo, a new release. And then we'll be able to release a new version of the Farmer, which is based off of that, the desktop, Subspace desktop. And then we're going to launch a new version of the testnet after that, based on that. So we're going to basically hard fork or reboot the testnet from Genesis, and then, or the FarmNet rather. And then we've got, Justin, you've got to get the team running on Subspace desktop versus Subspace CLI. And then we can start incrementally getting other people, ambassadors and core community members and whatnot on the network. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of coordination. It's got to be done to make all that happen. Okay. Okay, so I think Özgen and Justin, you guys are the critical link in this process, right? So is it realistic that we can have the team on Subspace desktop by Friday?
I think so.
I think so as well, yeah.
Okay. From the launch of the FarmNet, relaunch of the FarmNet, is that, who's involved in that? Is that going to be you, Leo? Does that require anything on the server side, or I guess on our hosted node?
Yeah. If we got the release, I can reboot the FarmNet and relaunch everything. No problem.
Okay. Does that require any changes to Subspace not JS, but Polkadot.js apps?
Polkadot.js apps? No, I think not.
To the Block
Shouldn't.
Explorer? Everything's the same?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, awesome.
I will validate also.
Yeah,
Okay,
theoretically,
great.
it would be possible to check this code signing thing on CI as well. I just like every iteration takes like 3 hours to wait for the result, which is like really annoying. So you just need to do it faster.
Okay, great.
Any
all the questions
final
I have.
thoughts? No. Okay, thanks everyone. Great work last week. Hope for a lot of progress this week as well. And thanks everyone for watching on YouTube. We'll see you in a week.